All right, good morning. Hoping not to get demonetized today on my market open like I did yesterday. Have no idea why, but that seems to be the common theme every day with one of my videos. Even though I do have a potty mouth, that's the true story. That could be part of it. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be looking at economic data this morning. It should be a good time. I don't want to talk a lot about the Trump debate last night. I've been posting a lot of stuff on X that shows just massive discrepancies in fact checking. I don't think Donald Trump did a good job in the debate refuting things that was coming up. He was getting attacked 3-1. I feel like Kamala literally had everything she wanted here. Let me fix this. I'm a little off my camera. I feel like Kamala had everything handed to her, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it had been. So that's it. That's my take on the debate. I don't want to talk about it anymore, at least not right now. Let's focus on economic data. So while we're waiting for core inflation data to come out, let's see how much time we have. We've got about 2 minutes. I'm going to jump real quickly through mortgage-related data and see if we have any differences. You can see here, it looks like the 30-year mortgage rate started to come down. Again, I think next week is where we really start to see this thing drop. But we're at levels that we haven't seen really since February 2023. So this is a good sign. We're heading in the right direction, a year and a half. The lowest interest rate in a year and a half. I feel like that's a big deal. Morning, Dustin P11. Hope you're having a good day, bro. Mortgage applications. Again, we're seeing positive territory. I don't expect this to get really big until we start seeing interest rates coming down in a substantive way by the Fed next week. Mortgage market index, again, expansion towards the upside. Don't hate it at all. Again, outside of our recent anomaly in August 16th, where we had like a really nice higher high, we're still higher than levels again from about February of 2023, a year and a half ago. The refinance index, second highest number in a year. Really the second highest number since July, 2 years. 2 years. A little over 2 years. So about the second highest number in 25 to 26 months on the refinance index. So you can tell people are feeling pressure and want to refinance. The purchase index, let's take a look here. Again, purchase, let's see what we got for forecast here. There is no forecast or consensus, but we were at 136.1. We're at 138.6 now, ticking a little bit higher. But again, lowest levels we've seen in ages. If we go back here, this is the lowest levels we've seen since 1995. 1995. So there's some uphill that can occur within the mortgage sector. I strongly believe that. All right, let's just hold up here. Let's see how we're doing on inflation-related data. I'm going to pop up my other screen here too. Good morning, Kenny. Hope you're doing good, man. All right, and let's just get over here. Yeah, God, I'm not even going to talk about politics. I'll probably just get demonetized again. Can I check NVIDIA? Yeah, Rahul, I'll do that. Right now, though, I'm going to focus on the economic data and just, again, any other news events that might be coming up, and then just a broader look at markets. Bitcoin is down as of the debate. As Harris started to do better, Bitcoin started to drop. Markets are okay this morning. I think there's a real. I think Kamala won the debate, and I think again it was rigged against Trump. Trump didn't handle himself emotionally. He didn't refute. He didn't talk about the 50% reduction in energy. He didn't talk about a lot of the things that he should have. So here we go. Let me refresh. We got our data. So we got a core inflation rate 3.2% comes in with consensus and forecast. We got core inflation rate month over month, potentially a little bit higher. I mean, it's 0.1% higher than consensus, but right in line with forecast. We've got inflation rate, non-core, at 2.5%, well under consensus and forecast. So the non-core rates are showing a precipitous drop. This is going to be a news event. This is going to be a news event. I got to post this. So let's see. So we had 2.5, the lowest read in a while. Let's see. Let's just go back to the 5-year. This is going to be a better number. So we had 2.5, the lowest read in 3.5 years. And Truflation actually believes inflation is at 1.15%. I believe that's true. Let me just post this real quick. All right, doing my job. There we go. All right, so that should be positive for markets. Let me see here if we start getting a bounce at all. PayPal still down 0.23%. Tesla down 0.75% in pre-market. CleanSpark down 4. MicroStrategy down 3.41. Again, the Bitcoin crypto sector is getting hit for sure. But let's see if the regular market starts to retrace and see if we can get any positivity on it now that we've got inflation reads that are looking better than expected, going back a very, very long time. Let's see, March of 2021. So yeah, 3.5 years ago. Isn't that amazing? All right, so let's look at what else we got here. So CPI, it looks like that's populating. Let's look here. CPI. So consumer price inflation, one could say that it's looking toppy and potentially rounding. We also saw that same trend, though, in around 2022. So is it going to round? Is it going to roll over? And again, we saw that same thing in like September of 2023. So, yeah, interestingly enough, it almost could be seasonality. October of 2022, September of 2023, and now August of 2024. We'll see if we get that dip kind of this time around the season for the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. But again, forecast for this was, forecast was 315, consensus was 314.98, and we came in at 314.80. So again, lower than expected CPI print as well. So all these things, these are relatively good signs, I think, for the economy, or at least I shouldn't say for the economy. That's kind of a lie, right? For inflation. For inflation, this looks good. Whether or not it's actually good for the economy is something else. If we look, again, Trueflation asked me to come on their channel. I might end up doing it just because I feel like their representation of inflation and reality isn't being documented enough. And let me see if I can find, I don't know, their site is a little weird now. They've gotten really big into getting you to pay for stuff. I don't even know if I can find anymore without signing in what they have for their resources. Let me see here. Is it under here? Yeah, they seem to get very much about paying, so I won't even pull that up right now. I'll just look at their print. But yeah, so this could be fascinating, guys. Oh, also too, let's just look at some other things that are happening today too. Let's look at the MAP heat index, but let's set it to pre-market and see. Oh, that's post-market. We don't want that. Pre-market. So again, you can see how things are down right now. The question is, do we rebound from here? This is slightly delayed versus what we have. What we have for other readings. So let me just go. I'm gonna pull up something here. I need to clean up my screen. Kind of closed out of a bunch of things on this end. So give me 1 second. How are you guys doing today? Jesse, you've been doing. Will you be doing a market recap today? Yep, market recap and market open. I'll be doing both. My goal is to do that every single day, Monday through Friday, unless there's a holiday. I had a stock I wanted to see if you could look at. I could look at it here too after we're done. So I'm happy to do that in both of these guys. I'm actually going to close down this. I'm going to close this down real quick. We'll hop into something else in a second. Just give me 1 second. I'm just cleaning up something on my screens on this end. Yeah, so Tesla down 0.84%. So not seeing too much of a bounce right now across the stock market, even though, again, today's reads were not bad. I think we'll see if it comes in later, but so far, I mean, PayPal's down 1.1 now, even more. Tesla's down 0.8%. I'm not seeing anything really positive. Let's see if what we have from the CNBC side of things. Just 1 second. I'm going to move that over, and we're going to see what they might be saying. 1 sec.
Rick, we're going to continue the conversation right now about CPI. I want to get everybody's take on what we're just hearing as it relates to this.
Let me go back. I want to actually.
Person.
We're gonna get the full story here from Rick Santelli. Just 1 second.
to Squawk Box. Rick Santelli
Here we
here
go.
live at CME HQ with the important breaking news of the morning. Our August read on Consumer Price Index, the last look at this series of data points going into next week's obvious big FOMC meeting. CPI month-over-month headline up 0.2, exactly as expected. Up 0.3 when you strip out food and energy. That's 1/10 hotter than we were expecting. And that equals April. To find a higher, you have to go to.
So I think that's the big thing. Does the market care more? And it looks like maybe we're getting a bounce. We got to negative 0.68 in Tesla for a second. Bitcoin doesn't appear to be bouncing, still down 2% on the day. But the question is, do they care more? Does the market care more? Let me just move this over too. Does the market care more about the month-over-month core inflation rate being 0.1% higher than consensus? Or does the market care more that the standard inflation rate metric came in 0.2% lower than forecast and 0.1% lower than consensus? I think that is really the big data points here. But let's listen to what the rest of what Steve has to say.
To March when it was up 0.4. If you look at the year-over-year numbers in the rearview mirror, 2.9. That now becomes 2.5. 2.5 is the smallest amount going back to February of 2021. And if you look at year-over-year ex food and energy, 3.2, exactly as expected, and exactly the same as the rear view mirror. And what we want to definitely pay very, very close attention to here are the indices. CPI index going all the way back to 1913 actually moved down just a smidge from 3.1454 to 3.1479. That's higher, but it's lower than expectations. And once again, that is the highest level since 1913. And if you look at the core indice, which only goes back to 1957, it also came in more than expected and more than our last look at 319.76. It has never been higher. We see that yields are moving up. And my guess is, if you look at expectations, we could see that there was one outlier there, and that was the core month-over-month, the 10th hotter.
All right, I do think the market is bouncing. PayPal's recovering, Tesla's recovering, getting a little bit of better performance in Bitcoin, Hood. I don't see the miners moving too much yet, getting a little bit of a bounce in Palantir. I do think Palantir is going to get hit, guys. If you look at what happened with Tesla after its S&P inclusion, it ran up dramatically before it, and then it dove afterwards. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen with Palantir. But I do think the market is starting to recover a little bit. Maybe we'll get some upside.
If you look at the sequential aspects of this, of course, we see that the 2.5 year-over-year headline dropped 0.4. But once again, we could talk about all the significant progress we've made on inflation, but it's still not at 2%. Will it ever be at 2%? Does it matter? Well, it mattered when it was at 1.8, and the Fed wouldn't look at that as just steady pricing. It was below the target. We'll have to see how it all works out. We do see that the closes yesterday in twos were significant. That was a 2-year low yield close. In tens, it was a 15.5-month low yield close. And everybody's talking about the debate. I was a bit disappointed having kids and grandkids who can't afford houses and, of course, can't afford insurance once you buy them, or some of the other prices. It seemed like there was really an economic tone-deaf panel with respect to drilling down. If you give people $50,000 to buy their house, I think it sounds like a good idea. But I think CPI numbers might reflect that. Price of homes might go up about what? $50,000?
At least Rick Santelli had something to say about what happened last night with the complete lack of any economic questions or policies about the future of this country. Because the moderators couldn't do this. Maybe ABC should hire this guy.
Squawk Box. Well, here we are, Joe. Back to you.
Well done.
Rick, thank you. That's an interesting, by the way, view that you think that if first-time home buyers are granted some money from the government, that it's going to increase prices for.
Of course it will. Overnight, it will increase prices by $25,000 as builders adjust. So, I mean, again, if you're into REITs, maybe that's a good thing for new home builders. But that doesn't help with affordability at all.
For homes, do you think it would happen?
That's why prices have increased. Government policies. That's the problem.
Yes.
That's what the moderators,
Yes.
they never drill down. Young people, I feel so sorry for you. Really, I do. There's an economic dishonesty going on here.
Agreed.
Let me just ask then, since we're on the topic, Rick, how you feel about tariffs?
You know how I feel about tariffs? It's a bargaining chip. And many of the tariffs with China are still on. Once again, the moderators don't drill down on the two aspects of tariffs, but they do drill down on other areas that make no economic sense whatsoever.
Good
But you don't think the
job,
tariffs
Rick.
raise prices? Just as a mathematical economic...
Listen, prices are going up no matter what, Andrew. Whether you do it on the tax side, whether you do it on the tariff side, our policies are silly. We can't be Santa Claus. All those programs aren't policies, they're promises that never get by Congress, and each one of them has a cost we can't afford because we've done this before. When you prepay and you make policies that don't make economic sense, you may think you're getting a benefit. Look at what we learned yesterday. Finally, wages reach 2019, but it doesn't reflect how much they've gone up since 2019. If you're out there and you're a young person, study up. You know, study up. All these superstars that made recommendations in such a timely fashion yesterday.
Can we get Rick to go to the next
maybe
debate
they
for
don't
Trump?
feel the pain of what's going on. But
This is great.
I feel bad that they can't buy houses and insurance. You think these prices of insurance are going to go down, Andrew? You think people in Florida that could barely hold on to their homes could afford 300% increases in their insurance?
No.
There is
Well
no question
done.
about that. it's a very true statement.
Right, so then why don't we talk about it?
I love Rick Santelli. This is one of my favorite people.
Why don't we talk about it?
Well, then there's other issues
Fuck
around
yeah, bro.
climate issues and other things that are affecting things in Florida.
What issues did you learn
But
last night?
It's a longer conversation,
the
Rick.
Vice President's smart and she could memorize that Trump takes the bait, but the ABC people were like a turkey shoot.
Good job, Rick.
Rick, we're going to continue the conversation right now about CPI. I want to get everybody's take on what we're just hearing as it relates to this inflation data. Tiffany Wadling is economist at PIMCO. Emily Rowland is the co-chief investment strategist at John Hancock Investment Management. Of course, our own Steve Leisman is here. Steve, I want to start with you and get your reaction to the number and maybe get inside the mind of the Fed as it's looking at this number this morning.
Well, I'll do that sequentially. Food was a goose egg. Energy down 0.8. I think we're going to get more of that given what's happened to the price of oil over the past month. Interesting, used cars down 1%. We thought they might level off here. New cars up at zero. Owner's equivalent rent, we can't get any help from. It's really quite a mystery. Up 0.5 again. This is the proxy that they use for housing costs. It doesn't seem to come down. I keep reading.
Hey guys, you want to know why rents? You want to know why rents are up? It's because all of the properties cost a lot more to build because the loans that the companies got in order to be able to build out these properties have higher rates. And if they pay more for the property, they're going to try and rent it for more. Unless capacity becomes a big issue. But with all the illegal immigrants flooding into the country and the government willing to house all of them, is capacity going to be an issue? Probably not. So maybe rents keep going up. Maybe the price of homes keep going up. It might just get worse, especially if we're talking about Kamala Harris last night talked about building 3 million new homes. Nobody asked her how she was going to do that. How are you going to build 3 million more homes? How are you going to do that in a state like California where it's virtually impossible for builders to build? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make this stuff work? How is housing and rent inflation going to go down?
Anecdotal reports about lower prices throughout the country, specifically places like Texas, places like Florida, and it's not showing up in the index. I don't know why. It continues to be expected to show up. One other thing was medical care services down 0.1%. There's an expectation that this is going to be coming back, and it had been down. Airline fares up 3.9%. I want to take a second to talk about this. There's a residual seasonality problem, or because the pandemic saw airline fares rise each summer. There's an expectation now that they'll continue to rise. The pandemic has messed up a lot of data, especially the seasonality aspect of it, the seasonal adjustments. We're going to be living with this for a while. Not sure how much airline fares have gone up. They tend to go down with energy. Real quickly then, as Rick pointed out, you have had a rise in yields. That shows up in the expectation for the Fed. So what's happened right now is that, and I think this is right, there was one chance, a small chance, that this data might favor a 50 basis point rate increase. It did not. If it was substantially lower, substantially below expectations, there was a chance it might favor 50. It does not. So what happened is you've had an increase in the probability of a 25 from 71 to 85%. And I expect with the PPI tomorrow, if it comes in around expectations, it'll lock in at 25 for next week.
Thank you, Steve. Tiffany, what was your reaction and take on all this?
Yeah, so I agree. I think this is probably, this is a 25 basis point rate cut in September. It takes away some of the urgency that the markets were discussing around a 50. I think ultimately, though, the Fed probably had made up his mind. I don't think that the labor market report that we got a few weeks ago was weak enough for them to go. It wasn't great, but it wasn't weak enough for them to go 50. I think more likely what happens in September is they announce 25, but they make it very clear that they're going to do a sequence of rate cuts because relative to their own monetary policy rules, they look a little bit behind a curve. So they can, there's a range of possible outcomes here where it's appropriate for them to be cutting. So I think that's really the message that they're going to send.
Pursuit of code. You said, I think cutting slower is actually more bullish. I do agree. I think if it looks more measured and it doesn't look reactive, that will be more bullish. There's just, again, there's so much that's going to be happening with politics over the next 7 weeks. I think the real question is who wins the election and then how much control do they have? If we have split government, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting because there's going to be an incentive for the new government to spend and do all the things that they promised to do. But then there's the potential inability for them to be able to do it. And the other side, regardless of who wins, being pretty much like, F you. Let this bitch sink under you. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but if one party gains power, then you have Kamala Harris, which is, you know, the party of taxation and censorship and reduction in economy and reduction, pushing renewable energy, but reducing other forms of energy, most likely, or at least that's the stance she used to have until she became the presidential candidate and changed almost everything, even during her policy finalization, trying to figure out what might get her the votes, in my opinion. But and then with Trump, you have expansion. So I don't know what's gonna happen right now. I got to reevaluate and look at things with fresh eyes and try and figure it out. Market doesn't seem to be moving either way right now, so it'll be interesting to see how the day goes.
Emily, your reaction and what you think the Fed may do?
Yeah, this was a good report. In fact, this was the fourth consecutive good report we got after 3 bad ones to start the year. You know, the shelter component here is a little bit worrisome. It's been responsible for 70% of the gains in CPI over the last several months. So the housing market's just been very stubborn here. But overall, the Fed's going to be a lot more focused on the labor market. I agree with Tiffany. Last month's job report wasn't great. The revisions were terrible. Job openings are at the lowest level since 2021. We're hearing respondents in surveys telling us that jobs are hard to find. And then we heard from Powell at Jackson Hole that the Fed does not welcome any more cooling in the labor market. So we think that the focus here shifts away from inflation towards the labor market. It's going to be 25 basis points in September. Bond market's loading up the rest of the year, 50 basis points expected in November, 50 in December. We think that's a little bit too aggressive here, given that inflation and shelter still have not come down.
Well, and we speak to that. You know, if the view by the market, and the market hasn't been so right about the Fed this whole time, is that there's going to be a 50-point rate, there's going to be 2 50-point cuts after September. There is this argument about, as they say, ripping the Band-Aid. If you know this is coming anyway, what's the advantage to doing it more slowly?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, bringing it back to the number that's priced in, we can talk about 50 or 25. You know, that's cute at the end of the day. The Fed, on average, cuts 17 times. in a cutting cycle. That's a 4.25% drop in the Fed funds rate from peak to trough. Now, that might not be the case this time. Maybe we have the soft landing. But if this plays out as history suggests, that the Fed is cutting pretty deeply to deal with a contraction in economic activity, the unemployment rate shooting up. And in that environment, just bringing it back to the investment perspective, there's a nice opportunity here to look at any backups in bond yields. And certainly we're seeing that a bit this morning, and take advantage of the elevated income that's available here in fixed income.
I need to thank all of you, Tiffany, Emily, Rick, of course, and
All right, it looks like we're done with that segment. So it looks like they're done talking data. So again, guys, I think what we're seeing here is pretty much in line with expectations, slightly better than expected in regard to the inflation rate. And the CPI component looked good too, at the slowest rate of growth in 3.5 years. Or I should say the inflation rate was the slowest in 3.5 years. So it looks like the economic data today is pretty solid. Let me real quickly, I just want to see if there's any key notes that I wanted to touch on in regard to my bookmarks for the U.S. economy. So again, we came in line with expectations, I would say. The average expectation was close to 2.5 via Nick Tamaros. Let me actually just show that over here since I just did that one a second ago. So if you look over here, headline CPI median forecast was 2.5. Core CPI median forecast was 3.2. So again, very much in line with expectations in regard to what we were looking for here. And I do agree that Steve Leisman, I think it is, that said it, that we are very much in the one rate cut camp, which I've been saying for a while. It looks like that's an 85% probability with the numbers that came in today. So I don't see that changing much. I see that being very much in line. Now let's just take a look here. Again, here's my post about inflation just came in under consensus and forecast at 2.5%, the lowest rate in 3.5 years. Oh, I don't know why this one is in here. Oh, wait, no, that's just regular post. Let me go back. Let me see what else I have on U.S. economic data to talk about. If there's anything else I want to cover. Again, so these guys have a lot of stuff behind the paywall. I need to figure out how to get to just the regular data again. I know there's a way to. But Truflation has today's CPI data sitting at 1.15%, which is obviously much lower than the reported data. I tend to lean more towards what these guys are seeing. Again, they saw the inflation rate higher than the government reported inflation rate too. And now, and they've been consistently ahead of what the government is reporting for the inflation rate. I do believe that inflation is coming down across a lot of things. It's going to be hopefully the housing sector. Again, rents I'm worried about, but maybe it all opens up. Again, existing home sales, having rates come down, these should actually provide, without being biased, having rates come down should start to roll over and lower costs. It might take a while for like commercial and rentals to be able to feel that lower rate cut, but it should happen sooner with existing home sales and opening up that market, which makes up a huge amount. Let me just look real quickly and see what Grok has to say. What is the historical average for existing home sales versus new home sales? All right, so I just asked Grok, what is the difference between existing home sales and new home sales, just to make sure that I'm giving you guys a good figure here. Oh, it might be looking at cost, though, and not. Let me do this. What percentage of home sales were new versus existing before the pandemic? Let's try that. That seems like a better question, don't you think? All right, let me see here. Let me look at you guys' post. No new comments. Let me see here. So it says, before the pandemic, existing home sales made up about 85 to 90% of total home sales in the United States, with new home sales comprising the remaining 10 to 15%. This distribution has been noted in various analyses posts on platforms like X. So again, this is something that I want to just reiterate. So I do think that we'll see improvement in inflation in regard to shelter components when we're looking at rents and when we're looking at things like new home prices. That all should get better with rates coming down. So what happens next week will be very interesting. And again, tomorrow we have PPI, and that'll be a big part too. Right now, though, the market, trying to see if it's recovering. PayPal's a little bit better. It's only down 0.51%. Tesla's down 0.47%. In all likelihood, the market should go up today. This is not bad news, regardless of the election, if we just ignore that. And I do think, here's the consensus, one of the reasons I was talking about the election earlier. Here's what I believe. I believe that maybe Kamala moves a point or two in the positive direction from last night's debate, but I think it wears off over time because there's just so many factual anomalies. It was very easy to see that there was one-sided bias with ABC News. I heard things about not taking notes, muting mics. Again, all the questions. Somebody posted that basically the questions were like, "Why is Trump such a horrible person?" And then to Kamala, it was, "Why is Trump such a horrible person?" And so like. And I think that's pretty accurate. The fact checks that went on last night, there were numerous things like saying that Trump is for Project 2025, even though he's denounced it multiple times. No fact check. The Charlottesville thing with the whole comment about, being positive towards neo-Nazi types, that was not fact checked. There was just like numerous things that were not fact checked in any way. So again, I think. I don't know, maybe there's a small percentage of independents that lean towards Kamala last night, but for the most part, I don't think it moves the needle a lot in regard to the election. There's very stark differences between these two candidates. So we'll see how that plays out, but I think the market's going up today. That's my take. Concord, BTC bouncing back a little after clearing out of a few leverage longs. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going up. Pursuit of Code, I think the majority of people who pay attention to politics can see through the bullshit. I hope so. I don't have a lot of faith in humanity anymore. I want to, man. But it just seems like so few people even know anything. I watch all these videos where people are getting interviewed asking their takes between different political candidates. And it's kind of shocking to see how little some people even know. Like when they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm totally voting Democrat. Oh, what do you think about Kamala? Who? What? Who? Is that really your question? You don't know who the vice president's been for the last 3.5, almost 4 years. Kind of shocking. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Polymarket switched fast. I mean, if you're objective and look at that debate, if you just ignore the bias inside of it, if you ignore how well prepared, if you ignore the accusations of Kamala having an earpiece, or the fact that Kamala literally is friends with the people that run ABC News and has been for a long time. And I think somebody even said that they had helped introduce her to her husband. If any of that stuff is remotely true, if you just ignored that, you could say that she won the debate last night. I mean, that's pretty easily apparent. Trump did not do a good job talking about any of his plans. All the stuff from the Econ Club that I talk so highly about, none of it was brought up. There was nothing talking about 50% reductions in energy. There was nothing talking about, he wasn't focused on how much we'd be able to, he kind of danced around it, but he didn't focus on how we'd be able to save a ton of money by getting out of these wars. Why the tariffs are beneficial to the United States, because they can pull back manufacturing. The tax incentives that he's giving the manufacturing sector in order to be able to get them to pull more work back here, to be able to give people more jobs, to be able to increase wages for the lower ends of the economy. There's so many things that didn't get brought up on there from the Trump side, which were highly disappointing to me, but not totally expected. Again, I wanted Vivek to win. I actually think Trump is portrayed horribly in the media, and it's not an accurate representation of who he is as a person. I do believe he can be arrogant, though. I do believe that he can be very self-centered and focused around himself, and I think the badder version of Trump came out last night with just 3 people attacking him all at once, with the fact checkers only checking stupid shit like whether or not people were eating dogs. That's just the dumbest fucking thing. I can't even believe that. I just got to show you guys something real quick, and then I'll get off this political crap because it's annoying me right now. But like even the comments about the child getting rid of children, right, at a young age after birth. A lot of that stuff, if you look, it's like, no, these things are real. These topics are real. There's even dialogue from doctors talking about, like the Virginia governor even making the comments about these things. All this stuff is out there. Also, too, why didn't they ask Kamala Harris why she didn't show up when Netanyahu was speaking. Is she so pro-Israel? Why did she go to some college sorority thing at Zoom call? Why wasn't she there when the Prime Minister of Israel was speaking to the United States Congress? Why didn't she show up for that? And there's so many other things, guys. There's so many other things. Let me just zoom down here real quick. Also, Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump left us the worst attack on democracy since the Civil War. And today is September 11th. Do you think that the Civil War, like September 11th, wasn't the worst attack on democracy? Also, Steve pointed out, they fact-checked in real time every single question, right? But with Kamala Harris, they didn't fact-check the Charlottesville, fine people comment. They didn't fact-check fracking or ask her why her policies changed. They didn't fact-check anything in regard to inflation and what was going on there. They didn't fact-check, again, Project 2025. It's just like there's just a lot of holes and inconsistencies and things that bother me. I think really it boils down to, do you want somebody who believes in censorship and communistic ideals in regard to economics? And that's the party of pro-war. They're pro-war, right? If you guys don't realize this, we just approved Senator Blinken. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it, man. We just approved more long-range weaponry to be used by Ukraine against Russia. Ukraine is in Russia right now, fighting the war in Russia. Russia has over 1,000 active nuclear weapons, and everybody's perfectly okay with the fact that that Ukraine is now in Russia, invading Russia. That is incredibly problematic if you don't want world war and nuclear devastation in the world. And we don't seem to care anymore. It's just nuts to me. Yeah, you're right. Markets are flipping positive, Pursuit of Code. I think that's the path today. Tesla is almost green itself. PayPal not recovering too much. Miners coming up a little bit. Bitcoin trying to get to 57. So there is some upside inside of that. I've also said I believe oil can continue to go higher if it thinks that Kamala is winning. But again, I don't know how much the needle has moved last night, so I don't even know if that's applicable. But here's a problem I had. I was debating somebody earlier about what was happening in Springfield, right? Springfield, Ohio. And this person, they blocked me because they didn't have a good retort. But they basically said, hey, shut up. Nobody's eating cats. But there is somebody who is eating a cat. It wasn't in Ohio, but the person was an American citizen, not a Haitian. But there's also an 11-year-old boy that got killed via vehicular manslaughter by an illegal Haitian immigrant. This city saw a population of 58,630. I've got that somewhere around here. Back before the Biden presidency, right? This city had 58,630 people. Since that time, in the last 4 years, their population with illegal Haitian immigrants, remember this, they had 58,630, grew by 12 to 20,000 people. 12 to 20,000 people. And this person was arguing with me about whether or not there was a problem in the city. And this person down here that got blocked just for liking my post was talking about how when they were in Haiti, they could literally hear the screams of animals as they were being slaughtered by the people there. But let's just ignore that, right? This right here is 20 miles away from Springfield in Dayton, Ohio. This man, Julio Alberto Manuel Francisco, was arrested in Ohio after running a red light and killing a 60-year-old woman on her way to work and then fled the scene. His immigration status has now been put on hold. He was an illegal immigrant. There was also another one that was on here. Let me go back and see if I can find it. There was another one that was on here where this little kid, this 11-year-old boy, had died too from a similar type incident. Again, this person blocked the shit out of me, so they don't want to talk about it. But the whole point is Springfield is a mess right now. Can you imagine your city going from 58,630 people to having potentially 20,000 more Haitian people that don't speak English being thrown into the mix? Wouldn't that be just catastrophic? And again, I'll just let you. I want to play one video and then I'm done with this, and then we're going back to the regular conversation, okay? But I want you to hear one video. I think I have it in here. Oh, maybe I don't. Let me just go back over here. I can find it. It is from a woman in Springfield, Ohio. I played it in regard to some of the other conversations that we had recently. Let me just see if I can find it. You know what? I'll hit the back button. Maybe I get a better chance that way. Let's see here. I got to find my way down this hole. Oh, she blocked all this. So, like, my chain of communication is broke. Let me go back. Maybe I can. Yeah, right here. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? This is a resident in Springfield, Ohio. Listen to her. Now, she looks like a crackhead, but she's actually a really nice lady. She's like 70 pounds, all right? She weighs nothing, but listen to her comments about what's happening in her neighborhood and what she's going to do, and then we'll get back to the regular financial stuff. If you guys have questions, any tickers you want to look at too, bring them up.
Noel? Thank you.
I live at 426 Northwestern Avenue. Miss Skinner, who I'm not trying to put on the spot, is my neighbor.
Just talk to me, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
And I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English
Sorry.
in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noel, guess what?
Can you hear the desperation in this woman's voice?
It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please give me a reason to stay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Like, I feel for that lady a lot. This is fucked up. This is fucked up. And this is in America. And the person I was arguing with earlier blocked me after I posted this because she didn't want to talk about this. She wanted to talk about people eating cats and whether or not there was, I mean, maybe that's what we need, right? We need a good video of a Haitian eating an animal and in Springfield, Ohio. If we can get one of them to do that, then maybe we can get things back on track with the election, because that seems to be the only thing that ABC actually cared about, that comment right there. But yeah, this is disappointing. This is in America. And the lady was arguing with me. And I'm like, how is this? She's like, the only problem is that the government isn't doing enough. And I was like, well, so you agree with me that the government isn't doing enough to help with illegal immigrants. How is this sustainable? If Springfield, Ohio is already overrun with Haitian immigrants from a 20+% increase in population in 4 years of people that don't speak English and that they don't have resources for. And her argument was the federal government just needs to do more. And I'm like, well, that's printing money. That's printing money, and that will create inflation. And how do we sustain that? How do we sustain that when the border is not closed? And this person has said that having a border is racist and all other kinds of things throughout her entire history as a candidate and in the office as the vice president of the United States. So if she doesn't want borders, she thinks they're racist, and the Western agenda right now is to open them up to everyone. How do we financially sustain this? How do we last as a world reserve currency? How do we not destroy our reputation for the entire world when we have cities that are falling apart and people just want to fucking leave? I don't think it's sustainable, guys. Yeah, she speaks better than Kamala. Agreed. Kamala's lines were all scripted. It was perfect. It's like she knew the questions. And I'm not making an accusation that that's what happened. It's just like she did. L says you can go to his campaign website and sign up to phone bank and identify voters. In my opinion, if you want Trump to win, volunteer with a campaign. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I wonder how that works. Maybe I'll have to do some of that too. Scott Abate, thank you very much for joining, sir. I appreciate you. Yeah, let's get back though. Did you guys? I'll try and go back through chat here, but maybe it's just better if you guys ask again. Let me see what kind of tickers people wanted me to look at here. And again, so Tesla's down about 0.3%, nothing crazy. Market opens up in 20 minutes. I do think we'll end up going up. Somebody said NVIDIA. Let's do that. Let me pull that up real quick here. I'll just pull up, I'm going to pull up the heat map index first, just so I can get the broad lay of the land. I'm going to switch it to pre-market. This is a little bit delayed, but you can see it looks like so far NVIDIA is up. Again, a little delayed, so Tesla's actually down a little bit from this. But interesting. Let's go in and see what the chart looks like. I might have to, this is a little weird sometimes in the way it presents. So let me do this. I will actually just go over here and reselect NVIDIA so that I can get my chart. And yeah, if you guys have more stocks that instead of me going back to the beginning, just throw them up out right now at this part. That's probably what we should do going forward too. Maybe when we get to the stock part, just type it out. I don't know. I got to figure it out. So again, we're down on NVIDIA, but we are bouncing up 1.53% yesterday, up 1% today, trying to get back to where we again had support but rolled over horrifically and dropped, not too long ago after earnings from 125 all the way down to 100. So that was a pretty steep drop, very steep drop actually. And so it would make sense that we'd find support here. You can see that this does look like a higher low. So if we go back here, we got higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So my guess is that we're going to try and test up to 120 again and then get back up to this, what was the previous neckline, and see if we can go higher and establish that as support. That's what I expect with NVIDIA, honestly. Let me see here. Smash the like. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like if you're here, that's greatly appreciated. Greg Waldo. Crypto thoughts. Yeah, let's take a look. So if we look at crypto over here in the heat map index, we can see Bitcoin down 1.23% for the day, Ethereum down 2.14%, Solana down 2.25%. Really, we just see what we would normally see. We see pain with the bulk of it going into altcoins, which means that Bitcoin dominance is probably sitting pretty good. If we go over real quickly here, I just want to take a look. Yeah, I called this yesterday. I said Trump win, we go up. Kamala win, we go down. That's what we did. But one can argue that we are finding our way back up again right now. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's just perception that this might not be as big of a deal. I don't know if people are just moving on and moving to the CPI or what. But again, you can see a bounce back at least on the 15. Let me move 4 hour here. 4 hour, we're still getting a bounce. So maybe we're finding it off the 50 moving average. And again, if we jump out to the daily, which I like to use a lot more, this does look a little bouncy. So the question is, can we go up? And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, if we go risk on, if we go like Fed's lowering rates, inflation's coming down, economy isn't falling apart, then I think we could still go up, irregardless of what's happening right now over the short term. The debate's behind us now, and I think it's just going to be a bunch of people going back and forth in regard to points. I do think that the only fact-checking you're going to see in regard to the debate is probably going to be on X. You can already see a number of those right now where people are calling out things that were misrepresented or just completely factually inaccurate. And so I think you're going to see more of that, but it's going to be on X, and then it'll be disseminated, and then mainstream media will say their own thing. So who knows what that looks like. BTC dominance. BTC dominance gaining strength again. So we're still above that breakout zone that goes back. So we had this downward trend line that went all the way from December 2016-17, connected again on January 2021. You can see that we're trying to break above it. I think it's going to be really hard to do. And I think if we do it, it's going to be short-lived. And what we'll see is this thing start to drop down. Like we'll have probably like a blow-off top with volume over here. And that will mark the top of wherever we are if we end up at like 59, 60% dominance with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is heavily dominant right now, though. If you look back to historical trends, normally what happens is the altcoins gain even more and more strength and take up a larger and larger percentage of the Bitcoin ecosystem. We have definitely not seen that part of this cycle yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's look at Solana. That's a good one. Solana is my favorite shitcoin, more so than Ethereum. I'll probably look at both real quick. Somebody said something about CleanSpark. I'll take a look at that in a second. So Solana, again, trying to find support where we're at right now. Will it do it? It's actually looking a little weak. But if Bitcoin stabilizes, maybe we can get altcoins starting to go higher. But now that we're at to the 50 on the weekly moving average, I'm a little worried that we could roll underneath of it with Solana. So maybe that's where we see Bitcoin going up and up and up again. Because there's this rule about things, the more you touch a particular zone, the likelihood of breaking through it is. And right now, I mean, look at how much time Solana has spent down here. It either needs to start making a strong bounce higher or look for it to roll over into lower and lower prices. That's my take right now with Solana. I think it could definitely drop and go lower. So I think you need to be mentally prepared for that happening. Let's see what else we got here. Let's pull up Ethereum and see how bad off that looks. Ethereum, I don't have a lot of hope for Ethereum. It's just has not been performing well. It's even weaker than Solana. And let's just look over here. So again, similar kind of setup. So let me just zoom in. It's probably better to do. We are getting near the weekly lows on the RSI kind of, but I don't love that Ethereum is sitting right above the 200 moving average. It looks like it's tried to whisk underneath of this a couple of times, but could it crack underneath of that? It's been trying to. And the longer it stays down here, the greater the likelihood that we roll over. And if we roll over, let's just pull out further here so we can get a good idea of volume. You can see that there's less volume underneath it here under the 200 moving average, at least until we get to like the 2000 range, 2100 range where it could bounce, or all the way down to like sub 2000. So we need to see strength. We need to see some reason for people to give a shit about altcoins. Kamala Harris has no Bitcoin or crypto council. She is not looking to create a crypto advisory board. So if her chances increase, I think the ones that hurt the most are going to be altcoins. So if you had a lot of bets on altcoins and Kamala starts to win this election, I think you can say goodbye to a lot of those bets, as they will underperform. We know already, guys, that the CFTC is still attacking companies and banks that are trying to get charter licenses, or I should say this, banks that are trying to get charter licenses. The previous CFTC leadership was pro Bitcoin back when Trump was presidency, but the existing CFT leadership is very much anti-crypto. And we also know that there's been attacks by the SEC against companies like OpenSea that do NFTs and other companies that have all happened after Biden left office. So again, I think just if you're objectively looking at this, guys, altcoins could get hurt. And I might even have to think about some of my positioning, maybe realizing some losses over the short term to prepare for some kind of potential drop over the long term in one of my long-term hold accounts. The problem is if I sell out and then I buy back in, then I risk not holding it a year for any gains that I might make. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm not as optimistic about altcoins right now, guys. I'm just not. And don't get me wrong, altcoins, this is about the time of the cycle where they start to outperform. If we can start to see that, I'll become a lot more optimistic about it. But again, with Ethereum right now, I don't see Ethereum getting past 10,000 or maybe stopping right here at the .618. I just don't see enough strength in it. All right, let me look at others here. Disease Codex, SUI. SUI's probably worse. I don't even know if I have that one, but I'll make a copy of it. Greg and look at it. 1 second here, sorry. Let me go to crypto. So SUI, we'll go to Coinbase. Not a lot of history here. We could be finding a base here. This is a $2.4 billion market cap. It's already dropped stupid hard. But again, people just do not give a shit about altcoins right now at all. And I strongly believe that if Harris is in power, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing for censorship and free speech in America. I also don't think it's a good thing for shitcoins. So you would hope with SUI going down almost 80% from its high in March that we'd seen the bottom. I don't know if that's going to end up being true. Not a lot of history to work with here either. This could be. It's a rising, broadening wedge. So this could be finding a bottom. We need to see something positive in Bitcoin here soon, guys. We need to start seeing the market getting optimistic about risk on. We need to see small caps going up. We're not seeing that stuff yet. Tom Lee called small caps a while ago. We're just not seeing. We're not seeing an environment that's conducive to it yet. Hopefully that changes this week and heading into next week with the narrative of rates dropping. Hopefully we start to actually see some improvement in these. I don't know if I'd hold my breath though right now. I just don't know if I would. Here, I'm going to refresh the stock map index here. See if we're Tesla almost getting positive. So maybe we're seeing some green here. Maybe we're getting an opportunity. In 10 minutes, we'll be flipping and the market will be opening. That's when the volume really kicks in, and that should be the most interesting. Disease Kodak. Hey, Jesse, can you read what I just sent quick? You said if Kamala wins, we would get a Great Depression. The Economist. I mean, so that's, you got to caveat that, right? Again, I won't argue with vote Trump. I definitely agree with that part. But there's parts to caveat. So if Kamala wins and she loses the House and the Senate, she won't have any power outside of executive order. So she can keep the border open. She can't forgive student loans. There's a number of things that she just literally can't do. So she'll have some power to be destructive, but not power to spend. And that's problematic for her. She would have to then move towards the center if she wanted to get things done. And so that might actually be okay for markets if she won, but, oh God, I don't want to think about if she won. But if she won, but doesn't get control of the House and Senate, doesn't have a good enough share, doesn't have like turncoat Republicans that are willing to side with her all the time, then you're going to have, it's going to be problematic for her to get anything done, and she'll have to move to the center. I think, and then she won't get things done like unrealized taxes. She won't get corporate tax rates going up. She won't get capital gains taxes going to 44%. And then it's not as big of a deal, right? Then the markets can maybe still do okay. But the problem is, will she be able to spend? Will she be able to provide liquidity to the markets through Congress? And I don't know if she'll be able to. So there's a lot of questions that come up with that. If Trump wins, he probably has power over the House and Senate from what I'm seeing on the Electoral College and just what's been going on in both. I think he can get power over both, or at least get enough to where maybe he doesn't have control of the House, but he has control of the Senate. I don't know. I think he would get both. And so he would have a lot of power in there to be able to implement a lot of change. And I think that would be better for the economy and better for the markets. But again, these are all things that are speculation right now. There's a lot of time between now, 7 weeks from now, on what's going to be happening with the economy and what's going to be happening with stocks. So who knows, man? Who knows? All right, let me see what else we got. Dennis said, that's why I carry a Glock with me. I carry mace everywhere. I don't carry my gun. And I do have a Glock too, but I carry mace everywhere I go pretty much anymore, because even in my city in the Midwest, it's just not as safe as it used to be. And there's really whacked out, crazy ass people that just hang out around my house sometimes, since I'm not too far away from our downtown location. And it's just become normal. And it wasn't this way years ago. It's just getting progressively worse all the time. And it's not just because the city's growing. We can see the epidemic of just drug use and craziness. And we can see poverty increasing because, again, the bottom cohort is not making as much money as they were before. Their wages have not increased at the pace of inflation, and they don't own anything. So there's people that are just getting poorer and poorer and poorer, and some of them are becoming destitute and getting added to the collective of people doing drugs and sitting on the street with nothing better to do with their lives. And it's sad. Hopefully we can make it better. Dennis Neuber, SWBI. Let's look at that one. If you guys have any other news events, too, that are coming in that are hot takes, throw them out, man, if we got anything that we need to talk about. Also, Dennis, if you have any data in regard to SWBI, what it is and why we should care about it, that's always helpful information. When you guys are asking for something, if you have like some fundamentals that you care about and that you think would be applicable to my review of a stock that I might not have seen ever before, that does help a lot, for sure. Oh, Smith & Wesson, shit, okay. Yeah, I could see that. So the Smith & Wesson is down right now because of probably fears of regulation, right? Well, pre-market, it's flat, but it has been dropping. It's rolled over. Let's go back to the weekly here. I don't know, man. I don't know. This could be weird because this is a weird stock for this, because you have this, right? You have the fear of regulation and the government coming for your guns. But you know what that normally does? It makes people buy more guns. So I don't know. Maybe this would bounce off of it. I don't know enough about their financials. Let's just glance over here. So they're $550 billion company, or billion? How big is this company? Let me go over here. I need to make sure I'm looking at my facts right. I'm going to pull them up over here too. SWBI. So the market cap, 550 million. So not that large. Revenue growth down 24% year over year. Yeah, it's down a lot. It's down a lot. I don't totally know why. I don't know what happened in 2023 and on, but their revenue is down substantially. And I don't know enough about the company to really speak to why it's all going to be down. Let's just look at yearlies here and see if we can identify when peaks are. So after the pandemic, it seems like everybody bought guns. I know I did around this time frame. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe everybody got all their guns and took a break. 2017 to 18 had another good peak. I don't know. This doesn't look like a company that's going to go anywhere. It doesn't look like a good bet either way, right? Like short or high. I just don't know what's going to happen. Martin Pilda, CleanSpark News. CleanSpark to add 5 exahash in increased 2024 guidance with acquisition of 7 additional Bitcoin mining facilities in Tennessee. That is huge, Martin. Let's look at CleanSpark. So to put this in perspective, this would make CleanSpark a larger miner by hash rate than Mara by a decent amount if they're raising their guidance right now. So this is substantial. I'm going to real quickly while we're looking at this here. Still down 3.32 in pre-market, so this news isn't really going anywhere. But let me see real quickly if I can get that article that you have on CleanSpark so I can hand it out to people here. There we go. All right, so I'm looking up the ticker. That's huge, though. That's going to be beneficial. Again, there's a reason why these guys upped their shelf offering to double the amount to, 600 million or something. They want to be able to buy, and they hadn't even used up the original amount, but they want to be able to acquire. They said very clearly that that was the goal. And now we can see that they're doing that. So it says that CleanSpark actively expanding its infrastructure. The company announced the acquisition of 75 megawatts of Bitcoin mining sites in Wyoming. Okay, that's a little bit older. Let me look here and see what the latest is. I don't know if I wish you guys could put links, or it would have the ability for people to put trusted links, because I don't think. Let me just do this. I'll just go to CleanSpark real quick and see what they have off their site, because I'm imagining they just did it from here, right? See if we can get the actual details here. 15 hours ago. Today. Yep. There we go. We're spending... Oh, okay. That's just them hanging out with the guys. Where did you see the news about the expansion? Where are you getting it off of? Martin. I'm going to look here. Huh. I'll have to see where that expansion details are. Oh, you know what? Maybe I just checked the stock. Sometimes those news events are right in here and not in other places. So let me see here. I'll go here. I'll click on this little lightning thing. Ah, there you go. There it is. Thank you, sir. So this is the PR Newswire. So let me see. I'll go ahead and put this out there. All right, so I just dumped that out. Thank you very much for being so timely and allowing me to get that out. CleanSpark will reach 37 exahash by the end of the year. Yeah, 37 exahash, but if they're revising their high target, I don't know if they were just doing that for the year. Let me look at the actual PR Newswire again. CleanSpark to add 5 exahash and increase 2024 guidance with acquisition of 7 additional mining facilities in Tennessee. It says Las Vegas, September 11th. America's Bitcoin miner, the company today announced it has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire 7 Bitcoin mining facilities and certain associated land in Knoxville, Tennessee area for a total cash payment of $27.5 million, or approximately $324,000 per megawatt. This acquisition builds on the company's strategy of securing high-quality infrastructure opportunities at the market. Yeah, we know that. The company anticipates closing out each of the sites on or before September 2024. That's great. That's real quick. Only a couple weeks. The operating hash rate of the combined facilities is anticipated to result in 5 exahash once the latest generation S21 Pro miners are installed. Sweet. Increasing the company's current hash rate by over 22%. The miners required for this expansion have recently arrived. And see, everybody was like, they own all these miners, but they don't have the facilities for it. They do now. They do now. The 7 sites total 85 megawatt and range in size from 10 to 20. So it's really, they can expand decently from this. With the energization of Dalton 4 campus last week, we already surpassed 23 exahash and expect more hash rate to come online this week from the energization of 50 megawatts of S21 Pros in Sandersville, with this additional 5 exahash expected. So it'll be closer to 30 soon. This is nuts. Begin hash rate over the coming weeks. We now expect to achieve 37 exahash before the end of 2024. As previously discussed, our timing of the market and on mining server purchases intentionally locked in low prices so that we could take advantage of opportunities like this and immediately fill required data centers. The grid acquisition, our recent closing in Wyoming, and now this transaction represents the continued execution of our growth strategy. Tennessee has similar political and energy environment to Georgia, where we've developed nearly $1 billion of capital, operate on nearly 500 megawatts, said Zach Bradford. I love Zach. He's so good at his job. Applying the same winning community-oriented strategy to the volunteer state is our plan as we expand our presence in the region and continue showcasing how Bitcoin can benefit the local grid and communities where we're located. That is a great article. That is a great article. This is good news for CleanSpark. I don't know that anybody's gotten it yet. Come on, Bitcoin, do something. I mean, it did something yesterday. It dropped when it started to see that Kamala Harris was doing better. So it did something. It did something. Let's just go back here. Where's everything at? Are we getting bouncy in the market? Nvidia's up 2%. It's starting to hit up against the 100 moving average on the daily. Could find some resistance there. It'd be nice to break above it. Let's see over here. Oh, Bitcoin's at 56.7. Again, I don't know. Kind of meandering. Looks like it could go bouncy. Let me see. I want to see Tesla real quick. Haha, not like this, Jesse. I meant like up. Oh, okay. Well, so specific. Tesla's down 2%. So again, we're getting current market, and Tesla isn't loving it. I don't know if this is just worries about Kamala Harris being the president or what. Let's see if we can find any news-related events for Tesla. Worksport says COR portable energy system can serve as a range extender for the Model 3. Okay. Lithium mining stocks are soaring. Cool. Worksports, portable COR. This is probably because of people getting excited about Kamala, I would guess. Thinking that we're going to push EVs even more, even though the EV market is completely saturated across China and most parts of the world, and we're seeing Legacy Auto cut back significantly on their plans for lithium. I think any surge in lithium is not going to be long lasted. I would like to see on the daily here, we're above the 50, or we're below the 50, this purple line. That's always the same across all my charts, guys. The 200 moving average is this orange line down here, orangish brown, and then the 100 is the yellow line. I would like to see us get above the 50 moving average and start testing up near the 234 range again. We really need to start to push up against this. It shows a clear definitive pattern where we were trying to break down. We were hitting this over and over again, and then we broke, and then we turned this fib line into resistance, and now we're testing up against it, and I'd like to see that happen sooner than later. The quicker we can get up to here, the better for short-term Bitcoin price action. Somebody asked what I'm most excited about on 1010. I mean, I'm gonna say Robotaxi because that's what 1010 is about. Hood trying to break. Yeah, we'll look at Hood too. So I think, again, it's Robotaxi, right? It's what they reveal about Robotaxi. Are they going to be talking about something substantive with Tesla where they have cities that they're going live with automation where there's no driver behind the wheel, and maybe they have something like a backup plan where somebody can press a button and get assistance if the car gets stuck? Because I still think we're at a point where you might have intervention. It just won't be the majority of rides. It'll be very Waymo-like initially in these cities as far as the driving, and then you'll have a person that can intervene, and then hopefully you have a lot less of, like Waymo where it drives down the wrong side of the road. I think you'll have a lot less of that with Tesla. I've never had that happen in mine. Even in other previous versions of code, it still drove down the right lane. So I think that but that's going to be the big thing. And then what vehicles are they releasing? And then do they have any surprises for anything else that's coming up that they're going to talk about that kind of leave us, you know, leave us happy and looking forward to something else? Or will it be a sell the news event? If we don't actually go up, I don't think it can be a sell the news event. You have to really have some upside. And I would argue that we haven't had that much when you consider that everybody's been raising price targets and we've been seeing this go higher. I still think we can get 30% upside in Tesla in a short period of time. Let's see. John Frank, hey Jesse, thank you for doing these market opens. It's really helpful. I hope so. Hopefully it gets better over time too. This is just the start. Dennis Newber, as an updated on the Patreon or Telegram, and updated on, is there an update on Patreon or Telegram? I don't have a Telegram. I don't have a Patreon. I'm probably going to develop a Patreon because YouTube censors me all the fucking time for monetization. They did it last night for the debate. For numerous reasons. They did it on my market open yesterday. They told me that there's limited visibility because of a song that played for a couple of seconds. So there's just it's just constant with YouTube. So I'll probably do something where I try and move the base of the membership off of YouTube and onto Patreon and maybe a Discord where we can have stocks that we're excited about. People can quickly add new events that have occurred for those stocks so that we're all aware of what's going on. And we can, and then maybe we can build out some value in a Patreon where we can have more active discussions with each other without the worry of being censored. And then if I did something like that, the YouTube channel would probably be like a $1 membership fee instead of all the tiers that I have. I would just force it down to a much lower number, and then I would carry over whatever the current tiers are just in the Patreon. But I'm only going to do that if I can build it out and I can provide value to you guys. While not getting censored and having YouTube take the majority of the revenue, because YouTube takes, I think it's like 30 to 40% of the donations you guys do, which sucks, right? Like that's a shitty number. There's been no real competition with YouTube, but I think in the future that's going to change. Tesla down 2.5% right now. Let's see, if I switch back to performance for the day, what does the market look like? It looks like Bidenomics. It looks like Bidenomics. Outside of big tech doing okay today, a couple of them, it really looks like Kamala's debate worked out really well for the markets today. We'll see if we can bounce. All right, let me see. Anthony says Hood trying to break 20. Let's look at Hood. I do feel really positive about Hood, irregardless. Like over the short term, I feel like Hood can make it. If you guys didn't see the video yesterday, the Robinhood CEO one, Vlad is so brilliant. He is such a smart person. And I can't wait to see what they're doing on 1016. I think it's going to be good. Yeah, up 0.25%. This thing does want to go higher. I think that we can get to 54% by the end of the year if Bitcoin can try and run to 100. Bitcoin can at least get to 92K. I think this is where Hood gets. And I can make a lot of money off of that. I don't think today is going to be a good day for the markets. We'll see. I'm meandering back and forth. The inflation data is not bad. The Fed cutting by 1 rate is not bad. Maybe the market wanted more. Maybe it wanted 2. Maybe the market is also skittish about the debate. I think it's probably a combination of all those things. Haha, not like this, Jesse. Oh no, that was that one. Pursuit of Code. I think market really reacts to the debate today. I think it could. I think you're right. Pursuit of Code. Stefan, hey Jesse, with Tesla, you think there's a risk if Harris wins? Yes. That they bully Elon so much no, fuck no. No, so is there a risk to Tesla's price action because of the narrative? Yes, there is. There's a risk to Tesla's price action over the narrative because of the narrative. Now, is Tesla, so Tesla should be up today. If so, look, somebody said Tezos says Enphase is up almost 5% today. Great. Why do you think Enphase is up today? Because of Kamala Harris doing well in the debate last night and talking about pushing for renewable energy. One of the biggest renewable energy companies on the planet is Tesla, but it is not up today. And why is it not up today? It's not up today because of Elon Musk's support for Donald Trump. And the fact that we already have judicial lawfare against Elon all the time. We have the FCC or whatever. We already have SpaceX having issues just getting their rocket to go up again because they've got federal bureaucracy and regulations trying to slow them down. And it's all done because these guys hate Elon Musk. They sue him all the time. They do the same things that they do with Trump, with Elon Musk, trying to turn him into a bad guy and make him a bad person. So I do think that Tesla should be up today, if the market really cares about renewable energy. Instead, we're seeing companies like Enphase. And again, yesterday I said I'm worried about Enphase. I invested in this company. I shorted it. I made money off of it. Then I started to invest in it. But now I'm a little worried about its ability to perform. Like, don't get me wrong. This ticker right here, you got some higher lows down here in the RSI. You got some divergence trying to push it up to the upside. And this is a long downtrend that's been sitting down here under these levels of this trend line going back, I don't know, 14, 15 months. So could Enphase go up? Yes, but again, like, their inverters aren't required in Powerwall 3s. How big is this market going to be? Is Europe going to grow? I'm really worried about Europe, guys, especially Germany. And so how well will this do? I don't know. I'd say right now it's just pure speculation about the fact that, hey, Kamala, pro-energy. If she's pro-energy, the narrative is things go up in the solar sector. And whether they do really or not, because you got to realize China is trying to crush this sector of the economy so that they have complete and utter control over it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Enphase. I don't know. I don't know enough about Enphase and whether or not how well they do in a world where Powerwall 3s don't need their inverters. I just don't know how well it does. Steven, hey Jesse, with Tesla, do you think, oh no, that was yours. Pursuit of Code, attach a crypto wallet. What do you mean Pursuit of Code? Tezos, that was Enphase. Carlo, bought some MicroStrategy today. Cool, man. I hope it pays off well. I do think that these things are set to go up. It's just a matter of how long. Again, as I said, if Kamala wins the presidency, she has no crypto positive stance. She has no Bitcoin positive stance. So you can see those things go down over the short term. If Trump wins, it goes up a lot. In the end, I don't think altcoins do very well under Kamala. I think the SEC and the FTC will continue to be brutal for companies that are in the crypto space. I think the only thing that you'll see is that Bitcoin can fare better if she can get the money printer to go burr in Congress. But she needs to have control over the House and Senate, or at least very close control to where she can talk people into giving her money. If she can't do that, then she's just a dead president, and we're just waiting in a sea of inadequacy and inability to do anything. And I don't know what happens in that environment. I don't know how anything does well in that environment. If we don't do something to encourage growth, if we let Trump's tax cuts expire, which will happen at the beginning of her presidency, and we don't do anything to try and help those businesses, we're going to see margins going down substantially. We're going to see a contraction in the economy, and that just creates the downward spiral that I fear so much for the United States right now, especially if we have a divided House and Senate and we don't have a president that's pro-growth. It's gonna get weird. It could get weird from multiple vantage points depending upon the mix-up of who wins the election. Pursuit of Code, you said YouTube takes cut for donations, attach a crypto wallet. Yeah, you could do that, but here's the thing. It's not just donations. The memberships that you guys have, they take a huge portion of it. It's like 40%. The donations where people do a sticker, 40%. Everything, 40%. YouTube gets the huge portion of it, right? So if you guys are giving me, right now with YouTube, I'd say I can make $4,000 off of them. So it would be like $7 in a month, right? And not that I need the money by any means, but it just sucks when this shitty company that censors you, that you don't love, and that you feel like is a bad actor in the world, has so much control over the monetary base of what people can say and do because they have this. You got to think, somebody like me, I'm a retired multimillionaire. I have it easier. Other people don't, and their voices are silenced because they're trying to make some money on YouTube. And every time they get demonetized, or when these guys make up 40% of the money or they can take 40% of what comes in because they have a monopoly on the YouTube video sector, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks for everybody. They take it from everything. Everything. Master the game. It's just a part of the contract, Dennis. Master the game. You should have your Lightning Network QR permanently on the screen. Yeah, but again, it's not just that; it's memberships, and memberships are the large amount of the funds. Tips and stuff like that, people just throwing out a thing every once in a while, that's by far a much lower number. And again, it's not just about me, it's about like how this platform works and what voices it amplifies through its policies and who it, because again, my content's getting demonetized like all the time now. It didn't before, but even if you guys just look here, let me just show you. So even if you just look here, you can see demonetized, demonetized, demonetized. And then I've had to fight a bunch of others to bring them back. But this is all just in the last couple of days. So it's, and then some of them, they'll literally, and again, by the time you fight these things, you've already lost the majority of monetization because the majority of people that are going to watch the video have already come and gone. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. It's not something I really admire at all. After the 40% that YouTube takes, you also have to pay taxes on the rest. Yeah, right? And if Kamala has her way, the taxes literally take everything else. So somebody like me who would be doing well, if you're just like a regular person and you're making $5,000 a month between YouTube and X, you're doing pretty good, I would say, you know? But if you get demonetized all the time, and after paying taxes and everything else, I mean, you're just not going to be feeling as good about life. It's a very unfair setup that we have right now with these guys. And here's the thing. I did have tips up. I had Cash App. I had PayPal. I had all these things. I had all these wallets, and I did that stuff on X. But you know what sucks about that? Then when I talk about finance, people are like, oh, look at this asshole shilling to try and get paid by people. And it's like, no, dude. I put those up because people literally said, how can I contribute to what you're doing because I like what you're doing? And then when you do that, people shit talk you for having, like, why do you need contributions if you're a multimillionaire? And so it's like, nope, okay, whatever. I'm fucking taking that shit down. And then I create some tiers on here to where people can contribute. But then so much of that goes to YouTube anyways. It's just, again, it just sucks. It's like, I can't imagine somebody who would actually be trying to make a living off of this. It sucks. You have a Discord or something? I'm talking about creating one. I do not have one. And that's my worry too. Like, if I create a Patreon and a Discord, or people think I have a Telegram already because there's just fucking fake accounts out there on X. And I haven't even looked to see how many fake accounts there are right now. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I worry that people would just go to the wrong fucking place and give somebody their life savings anyway. Very dismayed right now when it comes to YouTube and just trying to share information anywhere on any platform. I really hope that X gets a lot better in the future. The world needs it. This is funny. President Biden said, don't forget September 11th, but Kamala forgot it last night in the debate when she said that what happened on January 6th was the worst thing to happen since the Civil War for America. So that's ironic. Shelter is the reason core CPI is still too high, is what data is saying. And I agree. I actually agree with this. I'm going to retweet it. And maybe that component starts to come down, and then we get to see the real inflation numbers, which are probably going to be much lower. So that should be good. Kenny Brown, we so need YouTube-like interface for X options so we can switch over. They have like an X TV app, but you're right. It's like the whole subscription service. I still haven't gotten a response from X in over a year. It's been like 14 months since I applied for the subscription thing. I still haven't gotten it. And then, so like, if we can't have just people sign up for our service without X doing this approval thing, and we can't get a feed of people we're subscribed to, in video that's very much like YouTube, and we can't get the analytics that go along with it. It's just going to suck, and it's going to prevent them. But I do think, knowing Linda Yaccarino, knowing Elon Musk, knowing X, this is some stuff they're working on. I will be grateful for the days where it's there. And I need to start, no matter what, I'm going to start streaming to X. I'm going to start streaming to Rumble, even though I don't want to be like on a right-leaning site. It's not really my jam. Even though I'm definitely leaning that way in politics right now, I want to be in a place that has more of a central, square. And so X is probably the one I care about the most right now, honestly. That's it. Pursuit of Code, they do a rate cut and Shelter comes down. It might show a soft landing, maybe. But again, we're so indebted right now. This election, I think, is super important. We'll have a better idea in 8 weeks. Once we know who wins, what the control of the House and the Senate are, then we'll start to get some idea of what the damage is going to be. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad for the stock market? Everybody likes to say, oh, hey, markets just go up. But if Kamala got full control of the House and Senate and the presidency, I could see her stacking the deck in the Supreme Court, and I could see censorship for X. I could see a very tough time for Elon Musk. I could see Trump in prison. I could see taxes going up for everybody because she's got to pay for all the stuff she's talking about doing, guys. If she's going to give a $6,000 child tax credit, she has to be able to pay for that. If she's going to give a $25,000 credit for new homes, she has to be able to pay for that. If she's going to allow 2 million, 2.5, or I should say 2 to 3 million illegal immigrants to cross the border every year, she has to pay for that. Are they actually going to keep the border shut down, or are they going to open it back up again to garner more votes in the future? I don't know what they're going to do. I just know what they've done, and I know what they've said in the past, right? And I know how recently she's been changing her mind and flip-flopping on things. We know that she was very much adamantly behind the Green New Deal, and the Green New Deal has crazy shit in it, probably like Project 25 has crazy shit in it, that says things like, getting rid of air travel in the United States to where you only have air travel if you're doing international. Do you guys want that? Do you think that's good? Do you think we should be putting forth improvements in the environment for the stuff like that? She believes in getting rid of meat, reducing farm size, like a lot of the stuff that Bill Gates has been doing, where you buy up farms and you turn them back to acreages and you don't have food on them anymore. Do you guys like food? Do you guys want to eat crickets in the future? There's just so many things that are. It's gonna 7 weeks from now. It's gonna be fascinating. I'm probably gonna be really depressed. I'll try and still make YouTube videos. I'm hoping I'm not. I just got a hangover from last night in regard to the election. It's been a heck of a time. So anyway, I think let's see how we're doing again real quick. I want to see if things are improving or getting worse. So outside of Nvidia, XCH, a little bit of Lily Love, some Goog, a little bit of Oracle follow-up. Market doesn't seem to be happy today. Banks are continuing to see falls. If we look here, JP Morgan, again, the conversation that happened yesterday sucked. Disease Kodak, you missed my message. I'll resend it in chat. Yeah, please do. I'm sorry, dude. I thought I responded to it, but maybe I missed the broader conversation. I actually think banks like JP Morgan are getting dangerously high or dangerously ready to break down. And here's what I mean by that. You got this, right? You got a rising, broadening wedge that looks like it wants to roll over. This is a shitty pattern. It usually leads to a breakdown. So I could see a company like JP Morgan, especially with them talking about how they're going to do worse on auto loans. I could see them doing some kind of measured move. Yeah, a measured move that would probably get them down to, like, I don't know, anywhere between 173 and down here, probably down here to the 160 range. I could see this happening in the near future. I could see JP Morgan taking a shit. I hope the rest of the market isn't taking a shit with it. But I could see that. I probably should actually, I don't have this one. This is under end phase. I don't want to rewrite it. I'll leave it alone. But you can see just by looking at this, this is not a bullish pattern. You also have bearish divergence that started at the beginning of the year trying to pull us down in the RSI. You probably have a similar makeup. Yeah, it looks like up here. You have a similar makeup where we're trying to get pulled down here, and we probably will for JP Morgan. So it'll look a little more ugly for a company like that. And again, Ally Financial, how's that one doing? Let me see. Ally really got crushed the other day. This is where I have, somebody asked what exchanges I use. This is actually my primary. I don't know. I think, though, that I'm going to start looking at transferring and dividing my accounts up. It'll suck from a presentation standpoint, but I am getting worried. I just want to make sure that you guys know about FDIC insurance, right? You know that FDIC insurance is supposed to be $250,000. Nowadays, it sounds like it's basically unlimited. But brokerage accounts, they don't have that same exception. They have like a $400,000 insurance level rate. And I don't like that Ally, just since July 29th, has dropped almost 30% from where it was at with its low. Doesn't seem super great for this company. And again, JP Morgan having similar complaints, just saying that they're going to have more write-offs in the future. Disease Kodak. I don't see your comment, though. You said that I missed it, but I don't see it. Where is it? Did you have something else, or did I get to it? BTC dipping. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, down under 56 now. Again, I guess I kind of called this. I'm hoping that even with this Kamala drop, I'm going to call it the Kamala drop because I think it's true. I'm hoping that when we get down here, just based upon previous, support lines here, again, kind of here, except for this long wick, we got well above it. I'm hoping that we don't drop too far below between 52 and let's say 51,000. But I think that's possible. So you should get ready for that kind of drop. My hope was that Tesla would do well, but with what we saw in the debate last night, I don't know how likely that is. So I don't know that I can pray for much of anything to go up for me to be able to buy the dip on Bitcoin right now. But we'll see. RKs, yeah, everything's going to be. We're dialing risk off. I don't know. Maybe this is the best thing for the election. Maybe we need to see the stock market crash before the election. Again, I've said that before. I would rather have ARKG is actually up 0.44%. So I don't know if it's a total disaster today. I would actually argue that it's pretty strong considering. But again, this thing is down over 78% from its high 1,350 days ago. So much for regulations. Dodd-Frank, we're in subprime. No, not really. The auto sector is not the same. If you look at, I don't have this chart right in front of me, Shale, but if you look at the amount of debt that exists in auto, it is a fraction of what we have in the real estate market and what we saw in 2008 with the subprime mortgage market. That was astronomically higher. It's like, it's more than an order of magnitude higher in scale. It's like, I want to say it's 15 to 20x more impactful. So do we have a problem in the used auto market? Sure. But these are things that the banks can absorb. It's just going to suck for them, right? JP Morgan, it's going to suck for them. They're going to have to discount or they're going to have to resell these things, have large losses. The used car market is already just incredibly saturated. Especially with ICE vehicles. And I think that Tesla in the short to midterm will actually do really well for vehicle sales because there's so many incentives to buy it in California and Colorado, and just generally, they're much better cars, they're cheaper energy. And if Kamala becomes president, I don't see oil prices going down. Again, I see them going up, and I'll just make a testament to that. We've seen oil dropping steadily. We saw oil dropping steadily here since July 1st, and now today we're up, well, it's only up 0.44% right now. So one can hope that we continue to break down, but I actually, if her odds increase and we hear more positive information around her doing better, I actually see us breaking or potentially bouncing up here where we should be breaking down. Right now, this is essentially a descending triangle. And it should, you can see these higher or lower highs here. It should break down. That's what it should do. Will it? I don't know. JPM's got a number of loan loss issues, but the big one is auto, I think. Unless you can find something different. Yeah, okay. Here's their expansion thing. That's a nice, pretty image. We'll put that out there. I'll share that out. Even though I shared it out already. Yeah, so let's see here. Which sectors are getting hit? So yeah, I'm probably going to call it here real quick. It's 9 o'clock. The market looks wishy-washy. Looks like Ally's recovering a little bit from yesterday. But if we go back, let's look at our... Can I get the heat map here? Again, the heat map looks pretty red. Let's see if we can bounce. PPI is going to be the big thing tomorrow, guys. We'll have our session again tomorrow. Not much else on the landscape today. It's just all like inventory stack and then like 17-week and 10-year notes. I don't think we'll see anything too crazy there. I am curious though. We haven't looked at this. Let's go to the bond market. Uranium is up. Nice. Not sure why it would be up. Do you have any ideas, Heinz? All right, so bond market volatility is up. 3.58%. So that kind of sucks. We want the bond market volatility to roll over. We want to see this drop. Let's look at the 2-year. The 2-year is getting a bounce today. Probably getting a bounce because of the fact that, again, we're looking at a 25 bit cup instead of a 50. I do think that, I don't know, we'll see if this rolls over more in the future. I still think that's what's happening. Let's look at the inversion. Looks like we're uninverting, or we're inverting again. We have the potential to invert again. And again, if we do a slow rate increase, this, for the inversion side of things, it might actually help the argument of we haven't uninverted and we're not heading into a recession. I do agree. I don't remember who commented on that earlier, but if we can do 25 bips at a time and the Fed can, and Treasury can work together to keep market stability and provide liquidity, then I do agree that the inversion could actually invert again, and we'll just have this brief moment in time where it uninverted, and I don't really know that you can call that signal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. It'll be interesting to see. The Chinese yen, the dollar is strengthening against it. Japanese carry trade, very safe right now. The dollar against the yuan, the dollar is gaining slight strength. Again, everything's looking okay here. Let's see if people, so it looks like the put call ratio, we're seeing a little bit more put buying as of late. So that's interesting. Let's check out the Russian ruble. I never look at this. And Diseased, you said you missed my messages. I'll resend, but I don't see you resending. Oh, wait, there we go. What is, maybe YouTube is censoring me. Oh, yeah, I don't see your message, dude. If you include a link, it might not show it. So just type out what you're trying to say. But I don't see it. I don't see your comment, man. They must be censoring you, bro. Maybe reword it. Take out like a key word or change a letter to a number or something. You know what I mean? See if you can sneak it through, whatever you're trying to say, because I'm not seeing it, bro. The ruble. So the dollar is gaining strength against the ruble. This has been happening for a while. You can see after the invasion how the ruble just weakened immensely, but then they gained strength again because they closed their markets off from the outside world. We're heading back to where the ruble's getting crushed again. Check my DMs. Let me check on X then. I'll just do this from my other window so I'm not exposing people's private comments. I don't see what, I'm trying to remember what your name is on here. You are John Under, is that true? Let me see here. Is it initially I was skeptical, but after conducting some research, it appears there might be truth to the allegations regarding Kamala Harris using assistants during the debate? Oh, that is weird. Yeah, okay. So this is a... So I'm not going to say anything about this, but I'll just show an image of it. So you see this right here? These are supposed to be a wireless communication tool. And these are the earrings that we saw last night. I don't know how much of this is true. I'm not going to speculate on it. But that is interesting. So you're probably getting censored on YouTube, bro. You're probably getting censored. Were you including a link? Is that what you were doing? Or were you just trying to type that out? If you include a link, it will block you. It will not put links. Andreas, she used... oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. But this right here could just be... because I don't allow links on YouTube. I think that's a setting that I have in place. And the reason that I have that in place is because I don't want people putting in like a go to my Telegram or something and having people do some stupid shit and trying to go to it. I wish I could say for members that you guys can provide links, but YouTube doesn't have that kind of functionality. They don't have like a trusted source type thing, unfortunately. They just don't do it. Anyway, yeah, so I think I'm good. Unless you guys have more stocks that you want to talk about, I think we're good. Let's kill it right now. And then if anything interesting happens, let me see here. Andre said, don't think it's true, but okay, just knew the questions up front, got the study. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she was way too prepared for all the answers with those questions. I've watched her debate. I've watched her speaking. I've watched her impromptu answering questions. I've watched her speaking at her rallies. I've watched all this stuff going back through time, and I've never seen her perform as good as she did last night. That's what I'll say. Yeah, no links. You can't do links for sure. And I can't set that where like where members can do a link. I can't set that. That unfortunately it's an all or nothing. I either turn off links so that people can't spam it. You know what I'll do? I should turn on links again, because for almost all my chat, all I do is allow you guys. I think I can fix that. I'll fix it, Disease Kodak. I'll do it after this video, because I do think I can correct that and you guys can start sending links. So I'll check that, and then maybe this afternoon with the market recap, since I only do members only, and I'm just going to do that for everything. I'm just going to do members only for everything now. I'm not going to leave it open chat for like political or any other commentary, because I don't like half the stuff that comes across anyways, and I don't want to have to worry about links. And if I don't have to worry about links, and we can more easily share information if members are doing their thing. So that's the fix, man. I'll implement that, and then this afternoon with market open, our market recap, let's see if we can actually do that and get it to work. That might be on me for the setting, and with us doing members, maybe we've solved that problem. So let's do that. Otherwise, though, I think I'm good for now. I'm probably going to cancel it, guys, and close out, and we will talk in the recap unless I find something that's very interesting that I feel like you guys got to know right away. I think we're pretty much done for the day. So I'm gonna kill the stream here. So give me 1 second. I am gonna give you some music to close things out, because I feel like we could use it. I guess we'll do a buy the fucking dip. Let's just say Bitcoin's going to zero because Kamala's gonna be president. Here we go. All right. Peace out, guys. Love you. Bye.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto.
Last year, cryptocurrency funded every kind of dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists.
These people who own these things should not own your money anyways. I do think you're an idiot, okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself. I hope it is. Is that clear?